enough to win this fight. I think at best he's going to get a draw, but that's just my unofficial opinion. I think he was sleeping for those first 2 rounds.
Well, I split the first 2 rounds. I thought we both agreed that he won the 3rd round. I thought he won the last round. I mean, Palmer was competitive, but I thought Schell, did the better work in the last round. So,
yep.
I think at worst he got a draw, but we'll see.
Yeah. No, like I said, I agree with you. I think that it's a draw, but to me, I think if I was scoring the fight, I probably would have leaned towards Palmer. I thought he landed although the uppercut found its home for Schell on the chin of. It'll be interesting to see what happens here, but I think you're right. It's probably going to be a draw.
No. Like I said, I picked Schell, 39-37.
Oh, you think Schell?
Yeah, I said it could be a draw at worst, but I thought Schell won the fight.
I'd be surprised if he won. I think it's going to be a draw or go the other way. So there you have it. That's why we have 3 judges in a fight, because if it were up to Eric and I, we both went the opposite.
We'd flip a coin.
We flip a coin. Well, we're going to go up to the ring announcer for the official announcement here in a second, if maybe he looks over this way. And we will go up to him right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, one more time for these 2 fighters as we go to the judges' scorecard. Judge Alan Nance has the bout 38-38. Judge Don Ackerman scores the bout 39-37. And Judge Tom Schreck scores the bout 39-37 for your winner by majority decision, fighting out of the red corner, Joseph Schell.
I would have leaned more towards the draw, but that's me. So just another entertaining fight that we got to see, and I think his ring experience gave him the win, Eric.
Yeah, I think after the first 2 rounds, he gained the confidence. You notice it immediately. He settled down. He even got, I thought he was quicker in the last 2 rounds than he was in the first 2 rounds. Maybe he was a little tight. But when he loosened up and he got the confidence, he was landing much better quality punches.
Well, we got one more fight. This one's in the light heavyweight division. Tony Brinson, the brother of Nick Brinson, is taking on Donovan Scott in a scheduled 4-round light heavyweight matchup. And then we're going to take a short break. We're going to have an intermission for the co- and main event, which will be coming up a little bit later. Hey, I just want to give a shout out to my man Kenny, who's doing really well with his Kenny's Spice, man. Check out his website, www.southerngourmetspice.com. If you like a pork rub, or basically this stuff is good on anything, check this stuff out, man. This guy is really good. It's really good stuff. And, I finally got it. I had to shake him down for it yesterday. But some good stuff. I can't wait to get home to try it, man. You've had it, right? Did you?
Yeah, it's excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So check it out, www.southerngourmetspice.com. We got our fight coming up, our 5th fight of the evening. So far, it's been an extremely entertaining night of boxing. We haven't seen anybody hit the canvas yet, Eric.
Not intentionally.
Right, we did see, that's true. We did see someone kind of slip, get pushed, get thrown down. Yeah, we saw that, but not from a punch, and not yet. So we haven't seen anybody get knocked to the canvas by a punch, and obviously nobody has been stopped yet. We haven't even, as a matter of fact, we've only seen a little bit of blood. It was in the heavyweight fight when Paul DeLong had a little cut in his mouth or on his nose, but aside from that, it's been nothing but, punch for punch almost.
Yeah, it's good fights. Look, it shows you that in order to knock a man out or stop a man or put him in that position, it's you have to be experienced at doing that. You have to have real power. You have to know how to set up your power. And these kids are still learning. And a lot of them, quite frankly, they don't have that kind of power anyway. So they have to make do with what they have. Our next fight, we're going to see Tony Brinson. I was about to say Nick, his brother, but Tony Brinson. He's had 6 pro fights. Good fighter, no knockouts. So, he's another fella that, could he get a knockout tonight? Sure, he's fighting a very inexperienced man. 0-1, 9 amateur fights. Another guy whose last significant amateur fight was 8 years ago. Guy in and out of the gym, So, but, those guys tonight so far, they've performed admirably. They've hung in there and they've made competitive fights.
You make a really good point. I hope everybody caught that. You said that these young fighters aren't experienced enough to know how to knock an opponent out. And I think that people don't realize that. But what Eric Batu just said is so true because, you gain experience learning where to throw the punch, how to set those punches.
Guys that I really have a great deal of confidence in, your Triple G, your Kovalovs, and, a few others out there. These are the ones whom the sport of boxing is going to be carrying on their backs into the next, decade, the next generation. So I wasn't disappointed. The outcome was what I predicted.
Right. I didn't think it was going to go past 6. And I give Willie Monroe a lot of credit for going as long as he did. But on the other hand, do you buy what Triple G? Let me go a different line first. It seemed like the commentators were trying to paint a picture that he's got vulnerabilities. They said it a couple of times. Max said it. Jim Lampley said it. I think Roy might have mentioned it. I don't know. It's almost like they're trying to sell and convince another fighter out there to maybe fight Triple G. I mean, because like you said, he's beating the guys he's supposed to beat, and he's beating them in the fashion he's supposed to beat them. Can we hold him responsible for other fighters not stepping up to fight him?
Well, that's ridiculous to even think that he should be held responsible. He fights who they put in front. I would hold him responsible if he showed evidence that he was ducking someone. And, he's been accused of ducking fighters. You hear the guy right after the fight. He's calling guys out. He wants to fight the top fighters. He just called out Cotto. He's not running from anybody. So they don't have to make up excuses for Triple G. I think what they sometimes have a tendency of doing is covering their own asses on the telecast just in case something happens. They build a guy up to be Superman, and then if he shows, look, he's not a perfect fighter. Like I said, there's only, in the history of the sport of boxing, there's only been one perfect fighter that we know of, and that was Sugar Ray Robinson. So they all have vulnerabilities, including Triple G, including Kovalov, all of them. They all have vulnerabilities. But the only thing that we can expect from these guys is that they fight the best that's out there, and they continue to beat everybody that's put in front of them, as long as they're not ducking anyone. So you can't ask for any more than that. And they've demonstrated that they're not afraid to fight the best that's out there, and they're calling out the best. So what more do you want? These guys, the commentators, there's no need for them to try to sell anyone. I don't know, maybe that's a marketing tool that they feel is necessary, but I don't think so. And I don't think boxing fans are really looking for that either.
I think it is time for a Cotto or, dare I say, even a Mayweather or some big name fight this guy. I mean, they have to. They have to. We're going to be opening up the phone lines, taking a bunch of calls. Before we let you go, Larry, what's your quick thoughts on Roman Gonzalez, Chocolito? He made quick work at Edgar Sosa.
I was waiting for you to ask that question. Doesn't he remind you of Alexis?
I'll tell you what.
He's got those earmuffs, and he moves, and he just, he's coming forward, and he throws those nice straight punches and those combinations, and that he looks like a combination of Chavez and Alexis Aguayo, but more like Alexis, though, in his movement. And that was his mentor, and I'm sure that Alexis is proud of him wherever he is looking down on this guy. And I think this was a breakthrough fight on national network, HBO, for this lighter weight fighter. He's exciting, and I really would love to see him again. And I'm sure that boxing fans would love to see him again also. And it just goes to prove that if a fighter is exciting and he comes to fight and he continues to fight the best that's in his weight class, the best that they put in front of him, if he continues to perform like he performed tonight, that's what boxing fans want to see. And his popularity is only going to go up. I'd love to see him again. He
seems like, a lot of my regular listeners and viewers are always talking about Gonzalez, specifically my man Coach. He's always like, he's got one of the best hooks to the body, and he's always talking about him. And, the funny thing is that he seems to be the best kept secret. I mean, he's 43-0 now with 37 knockouts. And I think a lot of people just saw him for the first time, less than an hour ago, and I think a lot of people have to be impressed with what they saw, and just like you, I think they're turning off their sets saying, I want to see this guy again.
This is the first time I saw him, believe it or not. This is the first time I saw this kid. I heard of him,
right,
but the first time I saw him. And he's exciting, man, and he reminds me so much of Alexis Arguello with a lot of moves of Chavez, but more Alexis, and I want to see him again. He's exciting.
Well, I have a feeling HBO is going to keep him on again and again. So, and it looks like HBO is really trying their hardest. I was saying this on the show yesterday. They're really trying their hardest to make sure that we're getting entertaining fights, whether they're mismatches or not. Well, that's yet to be seen. But at least the last couple of broadcasts on HBO at least have been entertaining to a degree where you turn off the set saying, "Wow, that was a great fight."
Well, Al Heyman's lighting a fire under all of their asses, and that's what's good. See, the competition is good, and that's what Al Heyman, in my opinion, is doing with his series of fights. The competition is on, and that's great. That's what's good for the sport, and that's what's going to bring new fans to the sport, and that's what's going to keep the renewed interest in boxing and boxing on the minds and conversations of people for years to come. So I think it's great. And hooray for HBO, and hopefully Showtime will get on board with the same thing, and then, we'll have another generation, another decade or so of great fights, and boxing's popularity will soar once again as it did in the years that we were, really used to. So I think it's great.
Well, we're definitely heading in the right direction, and Larry, I appreciate you giving us some time tonight for our post-fight show. We look forward to you on Thursday.
Okay, Billy, me too. I'll see you on Thursday. I'll talk to you Thursday.
All right, brother. Take care.
Okay, you too.
That's my man, Larry Hazard. He's a boxing Hall of Famer, of course, and also the New Jersey State Athletic Commissioner. And if you're just tuning in, you're tuning into the Billy C. Triple G Willie Monroe post-fight show. Glad you could join us tonight on HBO in case you missed it. Chocolito Gonzalez, Roman Gonzalez, took care of Edgar Socha, and he did it by dropping him not once, not twice, but 3 times in the second round to get the W. Roman Gonzalez improves to 43-0 with 37 knockouts, and Edgar Socha he drops to 51-9 with 30 knockouts after being stopped at 2 minutes and 37 seconds of the second round. Now, joining me right now, she's ringside in California. We're going to grab her for a couple of minutes. Emily Harney is with us right now. What's up, Em?
How's it going?
I don't know. How's it going there, man? We just got done watching a fight.
It's been a great, exciting night. Unfortunately, it didn't go so well for Team Monroe, but I think we got to give him some credit for going the distance that he did with Golovkin. 6 rounds, nobody was really giving him that distance, and he landed some okay shots here and there on Golovkin. Obviously, he didn't do any damage, but he proved a little bit, I think, to people that he has the potential to really contend in the middleweight division. Not so much with somebody like Gennady, but I think there's some other guys he can really dominate out there. Gennady took a round off in between there, and he got hit a lot. And I think that's something that Gennady needs to watch out for with future fighters, such as Canelo and potentially Andre Ward. I think those are dangerous fights for Gennady if he's going to keep his hands down in the fashion that he did here and there tonight.
I think Willie Monroe's movement and hand speed was getting in and was landing some shots. Triple G at the end of the fight, I caught a little bit. He kind of alluded to almost that he was letting him do that. What's your thoughts on that? I just don't know if fighters actually let other fighters land punches flush. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, you wonder if you just kind of say it because that's just is what comes out of your mouth, and maybe you retract it later. I'm not really sure. How do you let somebody hit you? And that's a dangerous thing to do in this business. We know that. You drop the hands, any of those shots are going to put you down or potentially put you down. It's interesting. I was in Gennady's corner, And after, I think it was like the third or the fourth round, I think it was the third round, he came back to the corner and was one of the rounds that Monroe dominated. His corner said, you can't let him do that. You can't let him dominate a round, and you just kind of sit back and let it happen. And it was the next round, he came out a little bit more with a force. He can't do that as he moves forward. There are guys that are really going to know how to take advantage of that. And I think, a few more fights and Willie Monroe would have been able to take a little bit more of advantage of it. Would he have made it a little further? Maybe, but I think this was a good test for Willie. I think, people were able to see, all right, maybe he does have something special about him, and, we can hold on to him in the middleweight division. There's plenty of fish out there for him to fight, that's for sure.
I think the stock went up a little bit for Willie Monroe. I know it sounds strange because he was dominated tonight, but I think he showed that, he lasted. I mean, I thought the fight would go 6 rounds. It went 6 rounds. Did you sense anything from Team Monroe after that first round when he tasted some of Triple G's power? I mean, was there, did you see anything going on in the corner like, oh my God, what do we do now? Or were they calm? I mean, I couldn't get anything from TV. I mean, I just couldn't get the sense of how they were thinking. I know the team personally, and they're very confident. I'm just wondering if they had that level of confidence tonight.
It didn't seem like there was any, oh my God, what do we do type deal. They seemed like they were calm. They seemed like they had a game plan. And you could even see, I don't know if it was the second or the third round, but it was almost like Willie, found some comfort in where he needed to be because he was able to dominate a little bit more, especially after being knocked down twice. And when you're knocked down by Triple G, it's not like, you tripped over your shoe or whatever and got knocked down. You're getting knocked down. You got to be able to recover from that. I give him a lot of credit for recovering after being knocked down twice. The one thing that I watch when fighters go down is I automatically look at their legs. I look at their feet. I watch a guy who moves as fast as he can to really get the jitters out of him. Willie, he did that, but he didn't move a lot. But he seemed confident in the fact that, he was able to move forward, and so did his team. And I actually thought he was going to move forward after this last knockdown, too. I couldn't really hear what the ref was saying to him. I didn't hear his response, but he was moving around, so I was expecting it to go a little bit further. But, I think the ref made a wise decision.
Well, Willie said, I'm done.
He did, okay, yeah. See, I didn't hear him say that.
And
I was blocked by his mouth movement.
And I was surprised because after the 2 knockdowns in round 2, he seemed way more in trouble than he was when he had enough in the 6th
Absolutely.
round. So maybe some of those other blows were taking their toll on him. I know you got to run to the post-fight. One quick question. What's your quick thoughts on Chocolito Gonzalez? He made quick work of Ed Gasosha.
Yeah, I like this kid, and I've liked him for a while. I've seen a little bit of him here and there. This is the first time I've seen him fight live, but I really like him, and I think he's got a great future ahead of him. As long as they continue to move him right and keep him in the limelight, I think he can, really make a name for himself. I mean, he already has, but even more so.
What's your take on the crowd? It seemed pretty into it and pretty packed from
it was. It was an awesome crowd out here. After going to the circus that we saw a couple weeks ago, and it just kind of being like a tennis match of people, and people being more excited to see people in the crowd. Tonight was a true boxing crowd, and for fights to be back at the Forum is huge. This is a iconic place to be. I'm honored to be in this building tonight to have covered a world title fight, and I think the fans were really excited too. You got some great fights tonight, whether they were knockouts or the 1 or 2 fights that went the distance. People got their money's worth tonight, that's for sure. And if they spent their money on Mayweather, then they should feel vindicated after this.
Emily, thanks for your time, and have fun out there. Go do some work, and then go have some fun. I know you will.
I always do.
Thanks a lot, Emily.
Have a good week.
That's Emily Harney doing. She's ringside. She's shooting for all the best shots. You'll see her on the websites and stuff. All her photos of the fight. She's gave us her thoughts. Phone line is open. What's your thoughts? 845-228-8710. You're listening to Billy C's Triple G Willie Monroe post-fight show. If you're new to this, We always do a post-fight on significant shows, but better than that. But wait, there's more. We do a daily boxing talk show, 2 hours a day. Check it out, Monday through Friday from 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern Time. It's on the local radio stations. It's on TV, but it's also on the internet right here, www.billycboxing.com. So we got some callers coming in, like this guy, I don't know. What's your name? Where you calling from? Hello, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, this is Scott in California, Billy. What's up?
Hey, Scott in California. What's going on? What's your thoughts?
Well, I want to talk about Triple G, man. The woman that was talking just before I called had said that his corner told him, you don't want to let Willie do that. And I thought in round 4, Golovkin looked gassed. Like he may have hurt himself.
You thought he looked like he injured himself, Triple G, in round 4?
Yeah, if he hurt himself or if he punched himself out in that second round, putting Willie down a couple of times, but he didn't look like himself for at least a round or round and a half or so.
Yeah, I gave that 4th round, like Harold Letterman, I gave that 4th round to Willie Monroe. Did you buy what he was saying after the fight, that he was trying to give him a chance, trying to make a longer fight for the fans? I mean, do you believe when he says that?
Mayweather said that a couple of fights ago, and everybody castigated the guy for it. I don't buy it. I think it's a bunch of garbage. I don't think he meant to let Willie hit him. I think there was something wrong, gas, or he hurt himself. So,
what's your thoughts of Willie Monroe basically quitting after his knockdown in the 6th round, saying he was done? Do you think he did the right thing?
Hard to say. I agreed with what you said a few minutes ago, where he looked to be in worse shape in the 2nd round after being put down a couple of times. But I don't know. He looked like he was kind of losing it as the rounds went on. It was just kind of getting a methodical beatdown. So I wasn't surprised, but I don't know if it was really the right thing to do. I thought he kind of maybe could have carried on.
Where do you think Triple G goes from here?
Well, I don't know. I don't think Golden Boy is going to put Canelo in there with him, even if Canelo asks for the fight. That's kind of their golden goose at the moment, and I don't think he's ever going to get Mayweather. That's a fantasy. Maybe Cotto if Cotto gets past Canelo, but other than that, I think he's going to kind of continue to feast on B-level or B-sides and guys without a lot of experience, just because nobody else will step up.
It's a shame. It's a shame for him. It's a shame for us because, somewhere along the line, these other upper echelon fighters have to fight this guy. I mean, I can't stand the naysayers blaming Triple. Oh, he hasn't fought anybody. Well, what are you going to do? He's calling people out. They don't want to get in the ring with him.
Right. Well, I don't know if you watch Twitter when you do your shows, but I had a number of boxing writers that I follow talking about how vulnerable Triple G looked and how he was exposed by Willie's speed or his movement. And I don't know if that's, like you said earlier, to try to sell Triple G to someone like Canelo or Cotto, or if they're just not watching the same thing we are.
Well, I don't know. When people start saying exposed and stuff like that, and I'm looking at, a knockout that took place, in 6 rounds of a fight, to me, that's not being exposed. That's just, doing what you got to do to a level opponent that he should do it to, so.
Right.
I mean, you can't.
Well, I don't think Triple G tonight was his best fight, but I mean, he certainly dominated Monroe, without a doubt, in my mind.
Yeah, I thought he controlled the ring. I thought he was able to move around, and I give Willie Monroe a lot of credit for going as far as he did. And if he could, shake out some other fighters to step in with Triple G, hey, that's great for all of us, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and all credit to Monroe. I mean, we've seen guys in there with Triple G go down once or twice like Gil and then quit, on his feet, and Monroe made it all the way to the 6th round after taking a beating for all 6, or 5 of the 6.
Yeah, and I think his stock goes up. I think you see him in higher profile fights, and this isn't going to hurt Willie Monroe. I think Willie Monroe will be a world champion someday. I agree. I just think this fight was too soon for him.
Yeah. His lack of experience definitely played a part in that tonight.
Scott, I appreciate you calling, my man.
All right, take care, Billy.
All right, thanks a lot. That's my man Scott calling with his thoughts. And we got the phone lines open. You guys are driving the show today. You're watching the Billy C. Triple G Willie Monroe post-fight show right here on BillyCBoxing.com. Phone line is open. I know a lot of you guys are calling in, but I'm only taking one call at a time. So if someone's on the line, don't try to call in because we're taking one caller at a time. So if you tried and you didn't get through, try again. 845-228-8710. Willie Monroe, I think his stock went up. I know that's tough. I mean, he won one round on my scorecard, the fourth round. But what I think it showed is, first of all, and even though I'm going to say this, he clearly showed, in my opinion, heart. Okay, even though he kind of packed it in the sixth round, I still think he showed heart, and I still think that his stock went up, even despite losing. But we got someone on the line right now. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Destro from New York. How are you?
Hey, what's up, man? How you doing?
Good. I'm excited, man. Just finished watching the fight. Really excited, man. Triple G, by my likes, he's number one. I'm ready to crown him the number one boxer in the world.
I think he's the most exciting. I didn't like him letting Willie Monroe, land shots at will. I don't know if he was doing that purposely or if we got to give Willie Monroe credit. What's your thoughts on some of the talk of people saying that he's showing some chinks in his armor?
Well, I think we have to give Willie Monroe Jr. uber credit. Willie Monroe, his conditioning, this kid's conditioning was phenomenal. Like the way, you see a guy, and I used to do boxing training for 15 years, and you see a guy get hit and he his knees buckle, and the way he comes back up. It happened 4 or 5 times. I thought, Willie Monroe is, he's going to go down, and he comes right back up. The guy's his conditioning was incredible, and really, people need to give this kid a lot of credit. He showed that he's not one-dimensional at all. It seemed like Plan A for Willie Monroe was that he's going to use his legs, kind of run around like Floyd Mayweather or whatever, run around the ring, and he realized that he moving around the ring and fighting backwards wasn't working because Triple G was moving forward faster than Willie Monroe was moving backwards, and it didn't work out. So Willie Monroe then decided, okay, I'm going to fight on the inside. Willie Monroe realized it wasn't working out so well because those uppercuts were coming in. So Willie Monroe then decided to kind of use his reach. Instead of fighting on the inside, he decided I'm going to use my reach and my range to try to work with Triple G. And, so it's not like he just, okay, I'm going to run around the ring the entire night. And so people have to give this kid a lot of credit. He was able to touch Triple G. I think Triple G probably, considering Triple G, when a guy calls his fights shows, Triple G, in his mind, it's not a fight. Like he said, my next show, I really believe him. I don't believe Floyd when he said, he let Maidana punch him for the fans. Floyd is a complete a-hole. He's he's full of shit. Triple G, this guy calls his fight shows. All right, so the next Triple G show, hopefully it'll be with Canelo or Cotto. Probably not, but I really think I'm not naive, but I think there's a strong chance that Triple G did let Willie Monroe touch him as much as he did.
Yeah, it makes you wonder. He certainly didn't seem to be affected by it, but we'll have to wait and see. Hey, listen, Destro, I appreciate you calling. We're getting a lot of calls coming in. We just want to get everybody.
Thanks for doing this. Thanks.
Hey,
awesome.
You got to call in more often, man. Or you still working, doing the school thing, or what?
No. I'm working in the financial district. They're keeping me busy, really busy.
All right, that's good, man. So you gotta tune in during the week, bro.
I never miss a show. All right, get the call. Talk to you later. Okay.
All right, Destro. Take care.
Okay. Bye.
It's my man Destro. We get some of his emails. He also, I thought he was taking some classes, but I guess I'm wrong. But anyway, what's your thoughts? 845-228-8710. In case you're just joining us right now, Triple G took care of Willie Monroe 45 seconds into the 6th round. He had dropped him in the 6th, and Willie Monroe made it up. He was contemplating, should he stand up, should he not stand up? He gets up. Jack Reese starts, chastising him for waiting until, he says, you barely made it. And he said, I'm done. It might have been better for him to stay down. I don't know. Joining us right now, Dax Khan. What's up, man?
What's going on?
What'd you think?
It was a good fight. It went exactly how I thought it was going to go. When Willie moved around and he was busy, he was able to get his best work done. And when Willie went on the ropes, when we spoke on Friday, and I said that is one of his biggest flaws. He goes straight back. He goes to the ropes. That's how Brandon Adams and that's how Brian Vera got the best of him, and that's what he did tonight. When he was in the middle of the ring and he was busy, that's when he got his best work done. What I don't understand is, because Triple G did not sit there and walk right through him, all of a sudden I have seen nothing but a flood on social media. And like one of the callers just mentioned a few seconds ago, how all these writers were saying how Monroe was winning. This guy's not allowed to get hit? He's a professional fighter. These guys that he fights are good opponents. They may not be, the very best in boxing, but, you're going to get hit. It happens.
I don't know if anybody could honestly think that Willie Monroe was winning the fight. He won one round on my scorecard up until the stoppage. And you mentioned Willie Monroe in the Brian Vera fight. I saw the same game plan that he tried to employ here, with the difference. And once the smoke clears, I'm going to talk to Team Monroe and find out. But here's what I saw, Dax. In that fight, in the Brian Vera fight, he did the same thing. He moved around the ring and he laid up against the ropes, and he was very effective against Brian Vera, counterpunching and off the ropes and stuff like that. He tried that tonight with Triple G. I think that he abandoned that, and his corner, the one good thing I heard them say, constructive instruction, was stay off the ropes. Because when he was against the ropes and Triple G was landing the punches, you could tell that the force behind Triple G's punches were definitely affecting Willie Monroe.
Of course. That's when Triple G does his best work. Look at all his knockouts. Look at the biggest names that he has beaten in his last fights. We'll just say, we'll take Martin Murray, we'll take Daniel Gill, we'll just use those two guys right there. When they went to the ropes, that's when they got done. Matthew Macklin, as soon as he went to the ropes, that's when he got done. Now we'll take a guy like Gabriel Rosado. Gabriel Rosado, who is not, at that level, but Gabriel's a busy fighter, and he's a tough kid. He was able to land his shots in the middle of the ring. Nobody ever claimed Triple G was fast. Triple G and his team never said they were fast. That's why he has that whole, what they say, that Mexican style, because he's really not a fast fighter, so he has to make up for it somehow. That's why he keeps his guard high. He's going to get hit like that. You know what? Winky Wright. Do you remember Winky Wright's defense? It was that high defense like that. Winky used to get hit a lot on the gloves, but, they didn't do the damage. Triple G, as we stated before, he looks like he's taking more punishment than what he actually is. And so there's all these exposures and these flaws that these people are seeing. They're pointing them out, but they're not pointing out the good things. The footwork, the cutting off, the driving Willie Monroe back to the ropes, and so it's a no-win situation. And Willie did actually a good job. You're right on the money where Willie took the fight too soon. Maybe down the road when Willie was able to have some fights at a higher level, not so much in the terms of, the championship level, so to speak, but, more exposure on, something like HBO against lesser fighters, where he can become a little bit more accustomed to that type of atmosphere and he can relax a little more. He'd have been able to move a little bit better.
Yeah, well, listen, Willie Monroe, you can't go from the level of fighters he fought, Brandon Adams and company on Boxino, to a Brian Vera, and then, catapult to Triple G. I mean, it's in all fairness to Willie Monroe, I give him a lot of credit for taking the fight. But my question to you, Dax, is where does Willie? We know where Triple G is going to go. Triple G has nowhere else to go but straight up. I mean, he's one of the big stars in the sport today, and if he's not considered by everyone a big star, he will certainly be soon. But what about Willie Monroe? Willie Monroe is one of these young guys that could possibly be. I think he will be a world champion at some point during his career. Maybe not now. Maybe not in the next 2 years, but maybe after that. Where do you see him going next for a fight? Like what? How do you think they should regroup, Team Monroe?
If I was Willie Monroe's team and I was out there trying to get the fights for him, what I would do is I would go looking for guys like a Daniel Gill, who doesn't have that type of power, but he's not faster than Willie is, but he will give Willie a good test. He will let Willie work on a lot of his abilities. I would go after guys like Sam Solomon, who's very awkward. Let him adjust to a guy that's just as awkward as him, but he's not at his top. But he will give Willie different types of angles to adjust to. Maybe even a Marco Antonio Rubio, who is a guy that hits harder than people realize. Matter of fact, he hits very hard, and he might not be the most technically sound fighter, but he would prepare him for these guys, like the Triple Gs, or even, let's say, the Canelo when he moves up, or like a Cotto who's a pressure fighter. I would bring him along, those guys, the veterans that are on their way out, or the guys that are not at the top, the B-level fighters, and let him, build right from there and get his overall pro game together. Because I agree, Willie Monroe has all the potential in the world to be a world, all the potential to be a world champion. He would have beaten if Jermaine Taylor, if he was still the IBF champion, that would have been a fight that I just sought after that because I think Willie Monroe would have beat Jermaine Taylor.
Well, how about a guy like what's his name? He's the WBA champ.
Jacobs?
Yeah, Daniel Jacobs. I went blank there for a second. Thanks for kicking me in the head. But yeah, Daniel Jacobs. I think that's a great fight. I think he beats Jacobs. Tell you the truth.
I do too. Yeah, that is a very that's a very good matchup right there. When you look at Daniel Jacobs, his resume and his level of competition, there's really nobody on there that's much better than anybody Willie Monroe's ever fought. I think with the exception of Trual, who's probably Daniel Jacobs' best opponent to date. Daniel Jacobs just a few years ago was fighting guys like E.J. Smith, who is a blown-up junior middleweight. So that's a very winnable fight. I think Monroe is faster than he is. Monroe, he probably he has enough pop in him, to keep Jacobs off. Jacobs has a high KO percentage, but look at the quality of opponents they're against.
Oh, no, I know. Hey, before we take some other callers, give us your thoughts on Chocolito Gonzalez. Man, did he make quick work of Edgar Socha.
That kid's a superstar. I think, I don't know if we talked off air or whatever, but I said, I was just as excited for that fight as I was the Triple G fight. If not a little bit more excited because we were getting a chance, to finally see him. I've seen some of his fights before on streams, but, a good thing about him is the fact that boxing always has had this bad habit of not giving the attention to the little guys because, we've always wanted the big guys because we always craved the knockouts. But yet these little guys, they perform the knockouts and they give a fast pace all the time. There's no such thing as a dull flyweight or super flyweight bout because, it's nonstop. Now, you get a guy like Roman Gonzalez, he can really put that on the map. Roman Gonzalez, he's great for boxing. He's got the power, he's got the skill, and he caught a lot of attention tonight. So, that was nothing but a win-win situation right there. He's the type of kid that, I can probably see, give him another 2 or 3 years, and he's going to rank up there, with some of the all-time flyweights, that we've had. I was talking to somebody earlier today, and he could be like this era's Jimmy Wilde or something like that.
Dax, right now he's 43-0 with 37 knockouts. I mean, theoretically, the guy's only 7 fights away from 50-0. You know, I mean, we're assuming that Floyd's going to retire at 50-0. His record might not be there too much longer after he retires if Gonzalez keeps going the way he is.
And you know what? I don't see Gonzalez slowing down whatsoever. And, you know, his opponent tonight was, you know, a quality opponent. You know, Edgar Sosa is no walkover. You know, Rocky Fuentes, no walkover. Over in Japan, you know, where these smaller guys are really, you know, they like those smaller fighters more over there. And, you know, he's beaten a lot of good fighters over there that, you know, the American audience hasn't seen and they may not know much of. And he's done it all sensationally. So this kid is, you know, is good for the sport, and I would love to see him back on HBO again.
I agree, man, and hopefully that's their plan. Hopefully they're going to be, you know, it seems like we talked about earlier in the week, it seems like, you know, they're focusing on exciting matchups, and we've gotten it. So hopefully.
The one last thing, Bill, that I've seen, and you've heard this, and we've all, we've spoken about it before, is, you know, the Andre Ward and Triple G matchup. And, you know, everybody is the same thing that, you know, Triple G needs to face Andre Ward to prove himself. He's in that same situation that Floyd Mayweather gets constantly put in. Every time Floyd beats somebody, they're always looking for this guy that's going to beat him because Floyd is slipping. Triple G tonight, they seen flaws in him. If Andre Ward's the guy that's going to beat him. Matter of fact, when it comes to Floyd, Triple G's the guy that's going to beat him. You know, why can't boxing fans just leave it alone and just let these guys do their job? Andre Ward, he has called out Triple G, and yes, Triple G said he will fight anybody from 154 to 168. But you know something, Andre Ward, why do we not hear Andre Ward putting the names Adonis Stevenson or Sergey Kovalev in his mouth?
Well, because he's got to fight somebody. The guy hasn't stepped in the ring in 18 months, so you know he's got a lot to prove with his fight coming up. So I guess after that we'll start hearing more from him. But
well, wait a minute, they might not have a map to Oakland.
That's right. He never fights outside of Cali, that's for sure. Hey, maybe that's why Triple G is starting to fight in California, you know? So
he's slowly working himself up the coast.
That's right. That's right. All right, my man. I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Have a good night.
That's Dax Khan. You can check him on Thursdays and also his column up on BillyCBoxing.com. Now, I know a lot of you guys have been calling in. We're trying to take the calls, but we're only taking them one at a time. 845-228-8710. You're watching and listening to Billy C's Triple G Willie Monroe post-fight show. Now, listen, if you're watching on the stream and you want to come on into the chat room, a lot of stuff going on in there. My man Caesar, who I haven't seen and heard from in a while, he just reminded me I lost a bet to him. We made a bet years ago about the Mayweather-Pacquiao fight, and I lost. I had said Pacquiao, so he's sending me a Mexican sombrero that I'm going to be wearing as payment of that lost bet. But anyway, we got someone on the line right now. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
What's up, Billy C? It's Chris from Tampa.
Hey, Chris from Tampa. What'd you think, man?
Well, start off, I thought Johnny Gonzalez was amazing, and I love the comment you made not too long ago with Dax.
You mean Roman Gonzalez? You mean Roman Gonzalez? Roman Gonzalez.
Yeah, Roman Gonzalez. Right. I don't know what it said first. Yeah, Chocolito.
Yeah.
You know, that would just be incredible. You know, say Mayweather goes 15-0 and he passes that. That's. I hope that happens.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that'd be great. But okay, so with GGG, okay, so I'm kind of probably in the minority here, and even though it's not much of a conspiracy theory, because he kind of said it, and if you allude to what Max Kellerman and Jim Lampley were talking about pre-fight, even during the fight, and if you watch the post-fight interview with GGG, I think, even though it's dangerous, I believe that GGG let him get hit like that. Maybe not completely on purpose, but I think he let it continue, especially in that fourth round. And he took those shots like in the chin, like a stone. And even though it doesn't seem likely, I think he did, because you notice in the post-fight interview, Max Kellerman asked GGG, you know, pretty much what happened in that fourth round. He says, he solidified, and GGG just goes on to say, I'm the champ, I'm the great champ. I can take it, make it exciting, big draw on the show, as he like to prelude. And I thought that fight wasn't getting past the second round. But that can be bad for the GGG brand, because we've talked about it over and over that he's super dominant. And if he keeps taking out these guys too fast, he can't sell the fight. So I liked what Emily Harney had to say. That with Monroe. Again, when I say that DGG let himself kind of get hit like that, take those shots, show like he has a bit of a quote unquote vulnerability. And I think a couple callers before mentioned on Twitter that saying that there's open pockets. That's good, in my opinion, for the GGG brands, because then that may open up a big fight with Cotto. Finding these other fighters that claim to be the best, when I believe Gennady is the true champ, to step in the ring and fight him. And then here's the thing: Gennady will not let that what I believe he did in the Monroe fight today, letting himself take some big shots. He won't do that. He won't take that risk in the mega fight. But he had to kind of sell himself a little bit. That listen, I'm not invincible. I get cut, and if you noticed that he had a little swollen over the left eye, I believe. I'm human. I can be shot. I can be hit. But I don't think he'd ever risk that in a future fight against Cotto or Canelo or Mayweather.
Well, listen, first of all, Willie Monroe tried to use the ring. It was a big ring, tried to outbox him, and Triple G showed him very quickly that he knows how to cut the ring off and he knows how to, control the action. That's number one. Number two, after the second round, I think Triple G realized that he could destroy Willie Monroe with his power, and he had at that point felt that he had taken the biggest punch that Willie Monroe could deliver. Then he got careless, and he just went in for the kill. That's what I think happened. I think he forgot about defense. After that second round, you didn't see him doing anything in terms of defense. He wasn't trying to avoid a punch. He wasn't trying to move his head. He wasn't trying to do anything. And I think that's his interpretation, or that's his explanation, I should say, of why he says, "Oh, I let somebody hit me." I don't think he's letting somebody hit him. I think that he just abandoned his defense. Willie got in a couple of shots, and that was the end of that. I agree with you that he's fighting a Cotto or somebody else. He's not taking any chances.
Definitely, but and I agree with you to an extent. But the reason I say he kind of let it is because if you watch that second round, and I can't wait to watch the replay of this so I can analyze it a little further. But if you watch the second round, it's amazing Monroe survived that at all. I mean, the time Monroe hit the canvas again, I think there was about 47 or 48 seconds left in that round. And GGG, let's put it this way, right? If you were to rate his offense, Gennady Golovkin's offense is a 10 out of 10. I mean, he's brilliant. He's hands of stone. He's incredible, right? He made, what the fight skeptics were saying, Willie's movement and the southpaw looked like nothing. Looked like a regular opponent, because Willie's good, and I like Willie Monroe. But he made it seem like that wasn't a disadvantage at all to Golovkin. He cuts that ring like no other, which is a great advantage over any kind of style. And I think we learned a little bit about Willie Monroe. I think Max Charles was on the money tonight. I think in this fight, Willie learned, he liked to proclaim saying that he's better outside at Cubano boxer type style. Actually fought pretty well in the pocket. That's a little bit more of a strength that Willie may have to realize in the future bout. I like Willie Monroe. I just don't believe his skill was good enough for GGG, and that was proven tonight.
Exactly.
But, it's possible. Your explanation, it's possible. But I think GGG let it happen a little bit. Just let the defense go. It's true. He didn't have it, but I think subconsciously, I can't read his mind, but I believe he kind of let it go so it seems a little bit more exciting. And now that the skeptics of GGG, guys who call him triple duck and stuff like that will say, "Oh, look, he's exposed." Good. Let him think that, because then we'll get the bigger fight with Cotto. And like I said before, he's not going to let that happen. That's not going to slide when the big championship fight, the unification fight, is in the near future. That ain't going to happen. No way.
Well,
Golovkin is the best thing for boxing right now, and he puts a smile on my face every time he speaks, every time he's in the ring, anytime he does anything. He's great.
I agree with you. He's the best thing for boxing right now. As far as opponents, I think that Cotto is going to be forced to fight him, and he might not even fight him. He might end up getting stripped by the WBC. You watch. All of those things are lined up right now. He won some interim belt. He was wearing all the WBC hat and T-shirt and everything else. That was his least title. I'm talking about Triple G. So, and Cotto's the guy. So we'll see what happens in June. with Cotto's fight, and we can go from there. But Chris from Tampa, originally from New Jersey, where it really counts. I appreciate the call. I look forward to you calling in next week, my man.
Yeah, definitely. And just a quick shout out to my uncle, Tio Jaramillo, from listening in Dominican Republic. He's the one who got me into boxing, as I mentioned before, and I told him to listen in, and he is right now. So shout out Dominican Republic, shout out Ecuador, and hopefully I get to see you in that sombrero. Have a good night, Billy Sue.
Hey, you see, I pay up bets. You know, Caesar pops out of nowhere, and he reminds me of that we made a bet years ago. But he's right, and I lost. So, hey, hombre, right? So I'll do what I got to do. All right, brother. Take care.
Have a good night.
That's my man, Chris from Tampa. He had a great time with us in St. Simon's Island. A lot of you guys are trying to call in. I am only taking one at a time, so be patient. Phone line is open. Well, I spoke too soon. We will have somebody on the line. Right now we got somebody on the line. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
I am Cesar Hernandez calling from San Luis Potosí, Mexico. How you doing, Billy?
What's up, brother? How you doing, man? I'm glad you called. You call to remind me that I lost a bet to you, you know, so that's nice. That's nice. I'll take the call. So that's good, man. What'd you think of the fight?
Actually, I loved it, man. It was an awesome display by Chocolatito, and Triple G did exactly what he was supposed to do, and I can't expect more than that. Now, I really want to see Triple G against some other middleweights, but of course he will not get the big names. But he can get probably somebody like Lemieux, David Lemieux. I think that would be a great fight for the fight fans and for boxing. It's two guys that love to bang, they can box, and I think it's just a perfect ingredient for a great fight.
You're right. Lemieux, the winner of Nadam Lemieux, most likely will be Triple G's next opponent, I would think. I can't see Cotto fighting him. Cotto's going to try. You know, he just signed that big deal with Rock Nation. He's got a fight in June. He's got this thing about him wanting to call all the shots, and no sanctioning body's going to call the shots for me, blah, blah, blah. So I just don't think he's too keen on jumping in the ring with Triple G. The guy that I think will is Saul Canelo Alvarez. That's what I love about that kid. He's not afraid to fight anybody. But like one of the callers said, Oscar may not be too quick to throw him in the ring with Triple G right now. I think Triple G's the odd man out. He's like Kovalev. Nobody wants to fight him. He's too much of a risk. He's a big name, and you can make money against him. But none of the big guys. I mean, you look at the middleweight division. Who's going to fight him, really?
Well, that's the catch-22 right now, because the guy is drawing now and is getting very popular, but nobody wants to take that big risk. Boxing, as you and I know, it's become a big business, money-making business. And if you can make your money without taking the risk, a lot of boxers will do it. As far as Oscar De La Hoya and Canelo, Oscar De La Hoya put, I think it was like last week or the week before, he said that Canelo will not get in the ring with Triple G until 2 years from now, a year and a half or 2 years. Now, tonight, which I found pretty interesting, when Triple G stopped his interview once it ended, Canelo tweeted, in Spanish, of course, he put a huevo. Basically, the translation is, let's get it on. That's what he's saying.
Yeah.
But, the guys that call the shots are Golden Boy.
Yeah.
And without their approval, Canelo will not jump.
But think of it this way, all right? And trust me, I know the business of boxing. Really a guy like Canelo, what does he have to lose? Even if he loses the fight, his value's not going down. He's 23 years old, 24 years old. He's proving his MO is that he fights the best. And as is the case with all the great Mexican fighters, they've all had losses. They don't harp on a loss. They get better. And I think Canelo got better from his loss to Mayweather. So I'm not saying he got better to beat Triple G, but it is a big fight. It is a pay-per-view fight. And somebody big has to fight Triple G. We got to have it, So I think he's a guy that's willing to step in. I think you'll see that fight before 2 years. I think you will. You know,
I think we'll get it sometime next year.
I think you see Canelo against Cotto, and then the winner of that fight against Triple G. That makes the most sense. That makes the most sense. So, hey, real quick, El Chocolito, what's your thoughts on him?
Oh, man, he's a treasure, a Nicaraguan treasure. I'm glad that he's now going to be fighting in the U.S. more. I think he needed the exposure. I've been following his career for a while. There are so many fights out there for him. I know Max Kellerman said Kazuto Ioka from Japan, but, I mean, you can put him in against Juan Francisco Gallo Estrada from Mexico and get the same result. You can put him in against Brian Deloria and get the same result. He is an action-packed fighter, dynamite on both hands, and the beauty of it is he can box. This man can box anybody's ears off and put you down with either hand.
I tell you what, the two names you just mentioned, Brian Deloria and Juan Estrada, those are two great fights that I would love to see on HBO, you know? And, this guy, like I said earlier, Roman Gonzalez, 7 fights, he's 50-0. You know, I mean, this guy is quietly creeping up on records too, you know, and people, it's a shame that, most fight fans don't even know who he is. I'm glad he got the exposure tonight.
Me too. You know, you have a great fighter in the flyweight division that was Ricardo Finito Lopez. I mean, how many people even heard of him or saw any of his fights? You know, he was always relegated to being the second or third fight in the fight card. I'm glad that HBO, actually showcased Chocolatito, and that's a great, sign from things to come. If fighters keep fighting hard, giving the fans what they want and they need, they will get showcased, and that's the way it is with Chocolatito. I think he is great for boxing and definitely great for HBO.
I agree 100%. And before we let you go, congratulations. We had a bet years ago. You won. You're going to send me a sombrero to wear or what?
Oh, yes, sir. I'm down here in Mexico for business right now, but I'm going to pick one up tomorrow, and I will send it to you, and I want to see you on it.
You will.
It's going to be fun, and thank you for honoring the bet.
Listen, man, I always pay up my bets, and no matter what, until you mentioned it in the chat room, I was like, oh, that's right, I did bet you. I remember we had the bet, and remember the fight almost was announced once before, and then it fell apart, and then I totally forgot about it till you reminded me. But you're right, and I'll wear the hat. Don't worry.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Well, hey, man, always a pleasure talking to you. Thank you for having me on, and hope to talk to you soon.
All right, my man. Thanks for calling in.
Take care.
That's my man Caesar, and you'll be seeing me wearing a Mexican sombrero to pay up the bet that I lost to my man Caesar years ago when they were first talking about the fight between Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather. I said that Pacquiao would win, and obviously I was wrong. 845-228-8710. Give us a call. We got a lot of people calling in. If you're not getting through, just take your time and try it again. Like right now, what's your name? Where you calling from? Hello, what's your name? Where you calling from? All right, we had somebody on, but I guess we lost them, and that's unfortunate for him, but or her, whoever was just on. We lost you, but interesting thing. 845-228-8710. Interesting thing. Caesar says, about the business of boxing and how fighters take the least amount of risk, and a lot of times they're not, taking those chances that they normally do, or what we're used to seeing, and so on and so forth. But I'm curious to know what people's thoughts are on Willie Monroe. Now, I love Team Willie Monroe, but do fighters say I'm done 20, 25 years ago and not get hassled for it? Wonder what your thoughts are. We got somebody on the line right now. What's your name? Where you calling from?
My name is Osam, and I'm calling from Detroit.
Hey, man, what's going on from Detroit? What's on your mind?
No, nothing. Just wanted to touch on what some previous callers had mentioned about the fight.
Okay, what'd you think?
I was watching the fight with another friend of mine who'd never seen a Triple G fight aside from his last fight with Marco Antonio Rubio, and he himself was an amateur fighter in the heavyweight division, And we both noticed it. I even noticed it in the Martin Murray fight. I don't think it's a conspiracy theory because Triple G has done this with Martin Murray and with Osamanyu Adama. If you pay attention, you'll see in the first 2 rounds, like Max, I thought HBO's commentary was better today, aside from Roy Jones saying that the middleweights are not scared of Triple G. That was just ridiculous. But what he said was in the first 2 rounds, Triple G was boxing beautifully. He was moving his head. He was flipping the punches. He was accurate. He was landing. But after the 2 rounds, and Willie Monroe, he got knocked down in the second. And if you look in the corner, at Willie Monroe's corner, he looked completely broken. And I think Triple G's corner, they realized this, and they wanted to extend the fight. So Triple G, what did he do? He would square up right in front of him, keep it, and just, smother his shots on the inside and allow him to actually hit him. He did this in the Martin Murray fight as well, where he would corner Murray, and he would see Murray not throwing back because he's basically he's done. He's done. His spirit is gone. His confidence is gone. So he would lower his guard, let him combinations because he knows he can't hurt him, and then go after him again. But Triple G's defense is incredible, especially in those 2 rounds for an offensive fighter. Probably the best I've seen since. I mean, Roman Gonzalez is pretty equal in that sense as well. Probably the best I've seen maybe since Roberto Duran. And it was just amazing to make a fighter of Willie Monroe's caliber quit like he did. First, he tried to pull a Rubio and get up at the count of 10, and so. But when Jack Leach didn't let him off the hook, because last time he was a little bit criticized for stopping the fight with Rubio, he just said, I don't want any more, and that was a great decision in my opinion because Willie's a talented fighter. And a loss to Triple G, like you said, it doesn't really take it doesn't decrease your value in any way because you basically lost to the best, one of the best pound fighters in the world, and the punishment he was taking was not worth going any extra rounds like Murray's corner was put enough to do.
I agree with you about Triple G's defense. We were talking about it all week on the show. And, he's got subtle moves that people don't notice. First of all, he's got great head movement, and he deflects punches and just rolls with punches just slightly enough where they don't do any damage. And I agree, after the second round, after he knew that Willie couldn't hurt him and that he, pretty much inflicted all that damage on Willie Monroe in the second round, and Willie Monroe didn't even have the wherewithal to hold and clinch and try to keep Triple G off him. I think he abandoned the defense, but I just don't want to believe that any fighter will let a fighter hit him square because it's a mistake. You never know what can happen. I've seen it happen many times where a fighter comes back to the corner and the trainers are saying, "Listen, you need to get rounds in, kid. Box this guy. You got him anytime." Next thing you know, the fight's over and he's got knocked out. And I agree. I think Triple G.
I agree. Generally, that's what happens. But in terms of Triple G, like I've seen it more times than one. So when it happens one time, it's you could say it's a discrepancy here and there. When it happens in 3 different fights, he just lowers his guard and lets you hit him like that when he's perfectly capable of switching. I think he's actually doing it because, like one of the callers mentioned, if he knocked him out in that second round, for one, it's not really a good value for all those 12,000 people in attendance, and second, he gets no closer to a fight. Now you have Canelo Alvarez tweeting saying, I don't see any challenge for me in Triple G, when before they were saying we're only ready in 2 years. Now you have Peter Quillen saying, I see flaws, things like that. So maybe this will open up a door to a future fight with one of those names.
Well, I hope so, because he destroys them all. I mean, I'd like to see the Canelo fight down the road, only because I like Canelo too. But, it's dangerous to do that, but... maybe he's got to do what he's got to do. I think he's the best middleweight out there, and quite honestly, I don't think there's anybody anywhere near, even in 168-pound division, I don't see anybody beating him. I really don't. I see him beating, I don't think Ward beats him. I really don't. I think people underestimate Triple G and overestimate Andre Ward, and we'll see. We'll see what happens with those two, but I think Triple G arguably should be started to considered one of the top pound-for-pound fighters out there. I really do.
I think in the classical sense, where pound for pound is meant to be if everybody was the same weight, This is not basically on resumes or anything like that. I would, in my opinion, I'd have him number one. I can't see anybody because we saw that if you're basically a puncher like Rubio, like Steven, somebody who's limited like that, like Lemieux, you're never going to beat him because he'll just outbox you, and he has power of his own. And if you're a runner, his style is so it's built for that kind of fighter. That's why Monroe had virtually no success when he was trying to move around, because Triple G's footwork is so impeccable, a lot like Roman Gonzalez, like I said. And having that multifaceted attack where you're powerful at the same time, you can cut the ring off and have that great, 345-5 amateur record, beating some of the best international fighters in the world. I don't see anybody that has that at all. You're either a puncher like Froch, you're either a puncher like, or have some skills like Canelo Alvarez, or you're just an outboxer, somebody who's extremely technically gifted with not a lot of power. And I think Golovkin, he has the best of both worlds.
You're right, and not only that, but ring generalship. He's the example of ring generalship. He cuts the ring off. A fighter rolls to his right, he's there. He rolls to his left, he's there. He never moves backwards. He's always making his opponents on their back feet. I mean, he controls the fight from the opening bell until he decides it's over, and we saw that tonight. That's for sure. Well, listen, man, I appreciate your call, and I hope you listen to our show on a regular basis.
Oh, definitely. Thank you, brother.
All right, take care. Phone line is open, 845-228-8710. Everybody's feeling the same way. Total dominance by Triple G, no doubt. I mean, that's the beauty of a knockout. You leave no question. Now the big question is, who does Triple G fight? My last caller from Detroit said, Peter Quinlan says, he saw flaws in the game. Peter Quinlan, he's not allowed to fight Daniel Jacobs. I mean, you think Al Heyman, you think Uncle Al is going to let Kid Chocolate step in the ring with Triple G? I doubt it. Triple G destroys Peter Quinlan, in my opinion. I don't even think it's a close fight. There's nobody in the middleweight division. I mean, when you look at the middleweight division, our rankings right now, if I take and look at our middleweight division right now, I don't see anybody. Although I wouldn't mind seeing him maybe against Andy Lee. But anyway, we got someone on the line right now. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, Billy, this is Tim from Tampa.
Hey, what's happening, man?
Well, I just wanted to call in. Like I said, I think we saw some good performances tonight, but I must say I'm just not that impressed with GGG as some of other people are. I mean, I feel like he really did put on a great performance, and I want to give him his props because Monroe was a decent opponent. But I just don't see what everyone else is seeing. I really don't see why everyone is saying this is the next great star. People are putting the anointing oil on this guy as if he's the next great thing. And for the life of me, I just do not see it. I mean, he's a good fighter. I mean, I've given him his props since he came out of the Olympics when he beat Andre Durrell. But this guy, as a professional, he's not as good. He still hasn't proven himself in the way that Kovalev has. Kovalev went on and he's knocked out guys. He beat a guy in John Pascal, which I gave him full credit for. Now I know you're in the crowd that says, well, people at this point haven't stepped up to fight GGG, and there's some credence to that as well. But until he steps up, or until he actually fights guys with these types of names, I don't understand how people could actually give this guy such anointing, such fanfare until he actually does that. I mean, like I said, he's great at what he does, but I don't see. I mean, he's good at what he does. I'm gonna go with the good, but he's not as great as I see everyone is saying. I'm looking forward to him fighting a guy like Canelo. I think that would be a great fight. Even though Canelo's a 54-pounder, I'm looking forward to seeing him fight even a guy like Lara, who Lara's called him out over a year now. I know you said you haven't heard that, Laura has called this guy out over a year now, and that's a fight that I wanted to see. You know, not Willie Monroe, who's claiming boxeo cubano. He's not a real boxeo cubano, so I really wanted to see him fight a guy, Laura. Also, even Floyd. I mean, funny enough, Floyd will outbox this guy. I mean, I saw Monroe just sit in the pocket and didn't even really get hit hard. I mean, I'm clamoring for this fight now. I mean, everyone thinks this guy is so great. I'm clamoring. I'm putting money on this fight because I saw a guy in Monroe who doesn't even have that. You know, who's more known for his defense on his legs. He actually sat in the pocket and was able to evade a lot of the punches from GGG. But, you know, the great thing about GGG that I must give him credit for is this guy can punch. You know, that's his greatness. He's a good puncher. And what you have to do for a guy like that is stay on the inside because that's where you're protected. I mean, this guy needs GGG, you know, because he's a puncher from mid-range. Once you get in that mid-range level, if you're not all the way out or you're not in, this guy can hurt you. And so I want to see him fight a guy who has a name such as a Laura or a Floyd. And even a guy like Canelo, who I think Canelo has a really good chance on beating this guy. So I want to hear your thoughts on that.
Well, I'll tell you what, thanks for the call, and I will give you my thoughts. You know, the bottom line is this. I appreciate my man from Tampa. You know, he's not impressed with Triple G. I will say this. He made some great points about Kovalev, but Kovalev had Jean Pascal and Bernard Hopkins to step up and give Kovalev the opportunity to prove his worth. Triple G does not. Although my man mentioned guys like Ursulandi Lara and Canelo Alvarez, I agree. I would love to see those fights. You know, and I would especially love to fast forward and see Floyd get in there, but Floyd doesn't have the balls to fight Triple G. You can't fault Triple G on speculation that other fighters would beat him or would give him trouble. The only way we can judge it is get them in the ring. I think Willie Monroe showed us that, you know, he was able to move around a little bit. He lasted 6 rounds, but this isn't a guy just because he was able to last 6 rounds. You know, do you think Triple G? I don't know. I don't know. Listen, you know, you can't on speculation. You can't guess. You know, you have to figure and base your opinions on what is available. And, you know, when I look at the middleweight division, I don't see a guy in the middleweight division that can beat Triple G. My man from Tampa that just called, you know, in the junior middleweight division, Ursulandi Lara and Canelo Alvarez, okay. Demetrius Andrade, okay. Those are big names for each other, let alone Triple G. Fine. All I could say is, you know, don't blame Triple G for not fighting those guys if they're not willing to fight Triple G. And I still haven't heard Ursulandi Lara call out Triple G. He keeps saying it. He said that a couple of times. But Alex Papali's on the line. What's up, brother?
Billy Speed, man, what a night, huh? We did. I had a feeling we were going to get two real brutal knockouts, and that's exactly what we got.
You know, I mean, here's the thing, Alex. You know, you're on the cusp of the show, and you pay attention to the opinions and stuff. And, you know, a lot of times you'll get this, oh, that's not a fight. That's just two brutal guys, you know, slugging it out, the barroom brawl, the sweet science argument when the Floyd fans are trying to, you know, make us drink the Kool-Aid that what he does is the sweet science and what Triple G did tonight is not. I disagree. I think what Triple G did, with the exception of, you know, appearing to let Willie Monroe nail him with some shots, I think what he does is the sweet science. He's controlling the action in the ring. He's dictating where his opponent is, how his opponent's throwing punches. He's landing punches. He's in a position to throw more. What's your thoughts on what you witnessed tonight from Triple G?
Yeah, I mean, he's just an absolute destroyer. I mean, that's the overpowering image you get from him. And I think that's why he's going to be, he continues to put asses in seats, because people want to see that. I mean, that's why they're comparing him to Tyson, and I think that that's an appropriate comparison because when Triple G fights, you're guaranteed to see somebody get hurt. Somebody's going to the hospital. And, there's something about that yeah, I think a lot of what we're hearing lately, especially, we're living in an era where the best fighter, the best American boxer, and the best boxer pound for pound is more of a stylist, not a destroyer. But the sport has always had both. Golovkin, and you're right, Golovkin uses, he has a lot of boxing savvy. Although I think what's being talked about in the chat room is right. What Louis is saying is, I don't know. I mean, he's hittable. I'm not sure. I think Monroe did a lot better than I thought he was going to do. I thought that fourth round was fascinating. Was Triple G taking a break? Was he hurt? As Emily was saying, was he sort of punched out, or like she said, maybe taking a break? I don't know, because I just watched it again with the sound down while I'm listening to the show here, and it does look as if Monroe. There's no doubt about it. He landed that. He won the round, as you said. That was the only round he won, but he did, and he did land quite a few blows. He never really hurt Golovkin, but it's strange because it almost seemed as if Golovkin was kind of like, every time he hit him, he did kind of wave him on. So it was almost like, was he tired, or did he sort of just let him, like, yeah, go ahead, hit me? I'm a little surprised. That was a strange round because, but otherwise, I mean, it was just the usual we see, the big drama show. I can't believe I just used that.
Big drama show. I give fans what I want. Big drama show. But I don't know.
I can't believe I used that.
I don't know. I don't know, man. I find that hard to believe that a fighter will let somebody hit them. It makes no sense. It's a mistake. Not focusing on defense, going totally offense. I could see that if they have no respect and feel that the fighter can't hurt them. But I think we got to give Willie Monroe credit for landing those shots flush.
I think you're absolutely right.
And when he was standing in the pocket, he was effective. I'll admit, I started thinking to myself, that's what Floyd would have to do. Stand in the pocket, use his hand speed, and then get out of harm's way. Throw 4, 5, 6 punches, then roll away, But the other thing is Triple G, he's moving forward all the time. He's one step ahead of his opponents all the time. He's a good fighter. He's a great fighter. He really is. I mean, I can't stand that people are holding it against him that other fighters aren't fighting him. I just don't get it. I don't get it. Hey, what's your thoughts on Willie Monroe?